Welcome to Streaming Deluxe. My name is Mr. Orange and welcome to another video about Plague Incorporation Evolved. So this video is all in the context of the virus, the coronavirus, which is now at the moment in Wuhan and in China and is actually spreading across China and the world. So check out BNO news for this. There you get some interesting statistics. So in this video, also a little disclaimer. I'm not going to play this game. I want to talk about something else, and I want to talk with you about something that I found on the Steam store page of Plague Incorporation. And the question is Plague Incorporation a realistic simulation, and can we actually use it to better understand the coronavirus or not? So in a tweet, the developer, he was saying Plague is cannot be taken as an example or a simulation for the spreading of the virus. So because in the end, in Plague you have to you're going to infect the whole world, and then you're going to have a mass extinction of the whole world. So this is what he said now after the outbreak. So I think he says this for the reason that he wants to protect himself a little bit, since he really did a fantastic job with Plague Evolved creating this game. So obviously it just has to be seen in this framework. So how many people are playing it at the moment on Steam? It's a good question. Let's check here on the Steam stats. Possibly a little bit less than the last time I was making a video. There were 17. Okay, I can't see it now directly. So we check here on the community hub, then you can see it. 5,000 people. So the interest in the game actually went down a little bit. Okay, so yeah, you know Plague Incorporation. I think I don't have to talk about this so much anymore, so also check out my other video that I was making about this game. This was actually 3-4 days ago, so, and the outbreak of the coronavirus is actually getting worse, and much more people got infected. We are now at around 6,000 in terms of official numbers. 132, 3, 4 people are fatal or have been fatally infected, so they are were dying with this virus. So there's a lot going on. So we're really in the beginning of this outbreak, but I don't want to create any panic here, so I'm not getting too much into this. So this is not my purpose here. All right. So what is important? So if you want to read now, we go to the CDC, the Center of Disease Control from the US. And here it is written on the Steam store page that Plague is so realistic that the CDC even asked the developer to come and speak about the infection models in the game. That's something, guys. That's something, guys. And there's a link, and we're going to open this link now. Here we go. And then this is the link of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention of the United States. And let's go through this article a little bit. So I'm going to, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of this video. We're going to talk a little bit about this article. I'm going to read it to you. If you're interested in reading it yourself, of course you can stop then this video here. But yeah, I would love to have you now with me, and then we check out together this article. So James Warren, founder of Endemic Creation, spoke at the CDC staff on March 20 in 2013 about his new mobile app, Plague Incorporation. Within the game, players select a pathogen and strategize how to evolve symptoms, transmit the disease, and counter actions taken by world governments and scientists. With a successful disease, player can watch as governments fall and humanity is wiped out. So this is actually the text they write on the CDC. Pretty bad actually, or pretty harsh. So I became interested in Warren's game as a tool to teach the public about outbreaks and disease transmission because of how it uses non-traditional route to raise public awareness on epidemiology, disease transmission, and diseases pandemic information. The game creates a compelling world that engages the public on serious public health topics. So for PHPR, using non-conventional methods to communicate with the public has worked really well in the past through social media and blog spots. We were very excited to welcome James to CDC and learn about about using other digital platforms to reach the general audience. Okay, CDC uses digital media to raise awareness on health issues that the nation faces today, says Catherine Leon Daniel, PhD, or Associate Director of the CDC. Meeting with industry leaders is a great way to learn more about reaching new audiences through mobile apps. I sat down with Mr. Wuhan to learn more about the game, its creation and what he plans to do next. So how did you come up with the idea? I made Plague as a hobby. I was a strategy consultant in my day job, but I wanted to give myself a creative challenge in my spare time. Plague Incorporation is a bit like the film Contagion, except that you are the disease. So 2008 flash game Pandemic 2 gave me the idea of spreading a disease around the world. I liked the game, but thought it could be even better if it had deeper strategy, a strong narrative, increased realism and a lot more, so I decided to make it. How long did it take to develop Plague Incorporation? It took around a year to develop the game. I could only work on it in the evening and on weekends, so it's pretty good actually for this time that he took to develop this game. Because I had never made a game before, it was very much a case of learnings as I went. Luckily I found 3 great freelancers who were able to help. So how did you ensure it was a realistic game? Now it gets interesting. Without a medical background, I did a lot of online research in order to make sure it felt realistic to players. So he says, yeah, it felt realistic to players. Luckily, I have always been very interested in biology as well as in economics and current affairs. This helped a lot when I was building the algorithms and models inside the game. A critical stage in the game is the infection cycle that dictates how people become infected with a disease and how they infect others. The game revolves around this stage, and I spent months making sure that it worked properly. So he should be the consultant to the CDC now about the infection cycle of coronavirus, in my personal opinion. So the core design is based on the concept of basic reproduction rate, and I found lots of great papers online which taught me more about it. So he read it all, guys, he read it all. So what kind of audience does Plague Incorporation reach, and what do you get from it? So it has been downloaded over 10 million times worldwide, and over 200 million games have been played to date. As intelligent and sophisticated strategy game, I think Plague appeals to people looking for something more meaningful and substantial than the majority of mobile games. It makes people think about infectious disease in a new light, helping them realize the threats that we face every day. An interesting fact is that it's also become an educational tool. Teachers and professors often get in touch to let me know how they use Plague to illustrate biological and economical concepts for their students. Okay, that's also very interesting, my friend. So, were players of Plague interested to know you had been invited to the CDC? Yes, the reaction to the news has been extremely positive and people are keen to know more. In the first 24 hours after I announced my visit to the CDC, almost 1 million people had seen tweets about it. I think people were excited to see that a prestigious organization like the CDC was interested in the game. A lot of people also hoped that visiting the CDC would give me ideas for future updates of the game, which it did. So yeah, he also made a lot of updates of the game. So what did you learn at the CDC? It was fascinating to meet the people who are working hard every day to keep us safe from the type of threats the Plague features. I got a tour of the Emergency Operations Center and Broadcast Center, as well as a trip to the CDC Museum. This gave me a lot of contextual information about how the CDC works, which will help me add a greater level of realism, my friends, to the game in the future. So the version that you play at the moment is much more realistic, especially in terms of how humanity reacts to outbreaks. So what are you working on now, and what do you have coming out next? So Plague, this is from 2013, so just to make sure that you remember. It's a pretty old post, and this game is actually already pretty old. It's still proving to be an incredible popular game, so my main focus must be to keep improving the game and adding new content for players. Recently I released an update which added a zombie themed Plague, oh my god, this would be the worst, as well as translating the game into 4 other languages. In the next update. I will be adding a new game mode for players, translating it into Japanese, Korean, and hopefully adding some CDC content. And why not? And then here coming a lot of, why not also in Chinese, and a lot of comments. So that's a very interesting article. So that shows me that he is not just the guy who developed the game without any knowledge about how the disease spread. So I mean, that's the whole question behind plague Incorporations. How is the disease spreading? But he read a lot of papers, so it's not unrealistic, so it is realistic. And when he's claiming now that it's that it's like not the simulation is not, you cannot take it for granted to the real world. Of course it is like this, of course the real world is even more complicated and different, otherwise it would be easy for us to cure this disease, the virus. But there's always this little grain of realism in it. And that's important just to remember this. So Plague is not just not a game that you play, and it's not a game that doesn't live up, I would say, to the real world. So keep this in mind. So it's a very realistic game, and this makes it all a little bit more scary. But as I always say, please don't panic, guys. So we will see in the next coming days, in the coming weeks, how the coronavirus will develop. Is it going to develop like a virus in Plague, or is it really going away and faster than we expected? So let's hope that it disappears very quickly, because it's not fun. It's not fun, my friend. So all right, thank you very much for watching. See you the next time. Bye bye.